much easier when you are in a field suitable for you. But there is no such a thing as a lesser profession or calling. All have equal chances of making you great. At least that is what I have come to believe. Time and study have been able to demonstrate this as true.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Dlima, are you at a place where you can read for us?
Uh, a great pillar in business. In business, if you're going to run one, notice that there's no much difference. As an entrepreneur, if you choose a path that does not rhyme with your heart and soul, you will probably quit before you see meaningful fruits. The first question to answer about a business is what its mission is. What problem does it solve? Why does it exist? The answer to these questions is the mission. It is the opportunity. I see many people confuse mission and vision. Many people in business neither know what their mission is, nor do they relate with what they have written as their mission. Mission is why the business or the orchestra exists, the problems it solves. Vision is where the orchestra wants to be, sort of a long term goal that should be time bound. It keeps the organization focused to their mission and on the growth path. If business lacks a clear mission, it is almost obvious that it will collapse. The same goes for any other organization, any symphony orchestra. Why is that? The reason is that for a business organization, the only mission left is to make money. The mission of a business cannot be to make money. Money is a byproduct of mission being executed well. It actually becomes a yardstick for measuring if the business is actually doing what it is meant to do, accomplishing its mission. It does not matter what kind of business it is. The moment an organization deviates from the core mission and starts focusing on money, things start going wrong. Ethical issues start cropping up. Substandard service becomes the order of the day. Relationships get broken, and soon no customer wants to come back. That is true for all other types of organizations. The relationships must, if they have to last, be purpose driven and not just money driven, not material driven. I experienced this firsthand in network marketing. All the people who were only focused on money without seeing the bigger picture did not last. My company had a mission to make a positive difference in the lives of people, empowering people to optimal health and success. And one of the core values was that people are number one in everything we do. This realization made me build my business with integrity, noting that my work is to make a positive difference in the lives of others. This continues to be the mission of my network marketing business. For a non business organization, a church choir, an NGO, a public university, and the like, if the mission is forgotten and abandoned, things go haywire. I remember in one of our choral groups, with the mission to arise and evangelize, we went well and produced a lot of music in the name of evangelization. We incorporated some partners for the sake of marketing and selling our music products, and that became the beginning of troubles because the integrity of the partners, the accountability questions, and the like started cropping up. Soon, money became the focus, and the choir forgot the mission. We majored, as one of my early friends said, on the minor. You have seen NGOs shifting their focus from whatever mission from whichever mission to making money and thus starting to scheme and cut costs, cook reports, and try to cut corners in order to make money. How long do they last? In our current choir, I keep asking what the mission for the choir is. Why? It is because what ought to be its mission does not seem to be the focus. Instead, we have become a showbiz choral group that perfects concert performance to the detriment of proper animation of the liturgy. We thwart members away from hefty and unrelated demands for uniforms, subscriptions, etc. We operate more like a professional club and not a church group, whose sole aim ought to be evangelism. Whom do I blame?
Thank
Lady
you
Noah.
so much.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Karibu sana Henry, karibu Patrick, na karibu Morris. Asanteni for joining us. So I want to hear our pickup. What have you picked up in today's script? First of all, money should never and money is never a mission. If the mission of your business is making money, then you do not have a mission. And I think that is why people start compromising. That is why people start compromising. That is why people start altering the quality of the services they're providing. Why? Because they're there to make money. They're not there to solve a problem. So the missions should be solving a problem, not money. I want to hear your pickup points, and I will start with the writer, Mr. Otieno Paul Peter.
Yeah, from that text that we started, we started by talking about how do you identify your mission. And this has been, Melvin, you can
Yeah, let me mute.
a little, yeah.
Thank you.
This has been a very important subject. Just a few days ago, last week, I was involved in this discussion where somebody was feeling like you should have your passion aside and then your work aside. You see, so you measure on your work, but then your passion is also something different. And I find it quite ridiculous. Why? His reasoning was people hardly make it in something they love. And I think that is also out of, that is not very true. Yeah, that is not true. Most people can and should make it in the field where they were called to be. I remember Dr. Edda saying that naturally she was always looking for the side of the magazine or the newspaper that was relating with mind, relating with psychology. And that could point to where she ought to have been. But because she was being directed by other forces outside who did not look into her heart, she ended up being where she was. You see, so the truth is, each and every one of us is equipped enough to be able to find where their passion is, where they resonate better. And whenever they find that particular spot, they can grow much, much better. They can build a name much, much better, and they will become a success. Remember, we say that success entails the extra mile principle. There is nobody who just does enough and succeeds. You must do more than enough. And remember, you cannot do more than enough if you are in a field which you hate. And remember again, with passion comes creativity. If you are not passionate in a particular field, creativity does not exist. You will be able to strain yourself. Even reaching what you are supposed to reach is a big problem. And so there is nothing much creativity that can come in. But if you are where you should be, one, you are going to be very creative and you can come up with new ideas to make the situation better, to make it better. If you are passionate about it, you will be able to rhyme with the extra mile principle of success. And you will be able to live a life better. Here is another thing, that people will always realize that they can do one or two, actually more than one things much, much better. They can resonate with a lot of things. For example, I resonate with science and technology, ICT. I love solving problems. And I also resonate with teaching. And so, and I also love music. You'll always realize that there are 2, 3 things that you are very good at and you can always do much better. So, yeah, and that means we cannot just be limited to one aspect. We have the chance to grow in various aspects. I love it. Like, I love giving the example of Donald Trump. While he loved business and construction, he is passionate about it. And usually he says the first thing to consider is passion. He's passionate about it. But then he also loves beauty pageants. He also loves beautiful women. So he organizes beautiful beauty pageants. Yeah. And he also loves golf. And so he does golf, organizes, builds golf courses and things like that. So all of us can always find 2, 3 things you love. Maybe you love telling stories. You love cracking jokes. You also love teaching. All those things can be various callings, you see. So we must first and foremost find that which we love. Like we were saying last week, if you are, for example, a rabbit and you are put to fly, you will hardly make it. So each and every one of us must just find that which will make, will you will be able to do much better, that which will give you competitive advantage, and that is where you'll find your sweet spot. And if you are starting a business, that becomes the start, the starting point. People quit businesses because they are looking for money and money doesn't seem to come. Naturally, money comes after some times of working free. If you are in a field where you cannot work for free, then you are not likely to make it in that business, and that business will not grow. Remember, when the business is starting, it starts with the mission of the founder. And that passion is what drives it. If you remember Steve Jobs, he loved the programming, he loved creating applications that would be able to excite the customers. And that is what built his organization. And it became big. He was passionate about it. It drives on his passion, and then other people pick that dream. The same with Bill Gates, the same with all these other people who built big organizations. It starts with their own personal drive. But if you put your drive to be money, then you can be sure that you're not going to make it big. I think I need to stop there for now. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, OPP. Dr. Eda Tatu, I'd want to pick your mind on this.
And I think this is an amazing topic, and thank you very much. I was reading an article. I was looking at a poster of something that said how to identify your calling and purpose. And it gave a list of 6 things. Number 1, what would you love to tell people? Number 2, what is your life experience? Number 3, what do you love? Number 4, what do you hate? Number 5, what makes you feel alive? And what is in your hand? Number 6. So if you make like, they all intersect. Yeah, all of those 6 items. These are 5 pens. So if somehow you make them all intersect, they will intersect at a point, which is your calling. Because there's some things which make you so angry, and other people don't seem to be as angry. Some things you love so much, and other people are just lukewarm about it. Then probably you're so angry because you're being triggered by your life experiences, and you wish that you could express this to people. And when you talk about these things, they just make you feel alive, you know? Like I remember somebody who named his daughter after me, and he said, you know, whenever there would come a topic about life, the sanctity of human life and family values, I would just become alive and I would start talking. So whenever he hears somebody talking about, you know, something that's against the family or against the dignity of human life, he would look at me and say, Ada's going to remark on that one. So that he just named his daughter after me. And of course, I was very flattered. So, and then what is in your hand? Like, what are the gifts that God has given you? Do you have access to a laptop? Do you have access to internet?
Dr. Eda, you're muted.
Yeah, so where they intersect is your calling and purpose. Whatever makes you feel alive, whatever makes you feel angry, what you wish you could share with the world.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Eda. Thank you so much. Faith, you are here with us from the word go. I think I'd really love to pick up your mind on the same. What do you think about the mission and the vision? Like, what is your thought about it? What is your thought about the topic of today? Okay, I'm not so sure. Okay, she's unmuted.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I think what I did was that I'm up and down doing something, and I have my headphones on for a short time. I'm in and out. So what I picked at the first time was a calling is not going to build your name; it's you, and that means if you're going to follow up your calling, you have to do the work. And with doing the work, it will make you somebody. Thank you.
Okay, you're so welcome. I think I'd want to ask as a personal question, and I'd really want to pick up a mind on it because now we have someone here who is willing to help us on the same. I'd love to know, do you know your purpose? And if not, what are the challenges that you have into knowing your purpose? Because let me just first of all speak for myself. I have so many giftings, and then I have so many likings. And then at times I just sit down and I say, maybe my purpose is traveling the whole world. You see, and just going for vacation in Hawaii, and then I come back, and then I go to Cape Town, and then I come back, and then going for vacation, not making videos or what, no, just traveling, going for vacations, having a soft life, you see. But anyway, that was on a lighter note. But I have so many giftings, and then I sit down and I'm like, I can do this well, I can do this well, I can do this well. So I bring all of them together and I'm like, so up where I mean, which is the major thing. But I'd want to hear from you people. Do you know your purpose? If no, what are the challenges that you're going through into knowing what your calling is? Melvin Blima, Mr. Melvin Blima.
So the question is, do I know my purpose? My purpose is to educate people to become better versions of themselves. So I do this through a variety of educational and hand-holding activities. And I'm just passionate about people. So I'm basically a people person. So that's basically my purpose.
Okay.
Now, what becomes frustrating is that I'm giving out this message every week after week after week, and you know, I don't know whether it's landing on fertile ground, whether it's landing on rocky ground. I don't get this feedback, uh, except for a few individuals like Otieno, Paul, Peter. Okay, so it's a lonely it's a lonely mission, but hopefully, once I learn a few leadership principles, I can lead myself through the desert, as it were. Okay, so that's it for me.
Okay, thank you so much. And I believe I don't believe purpose can be done in a crowd. I think purpose is such a lonely affair. It's such a lonely thing. I think so. I don't know. I might be wrong, but I think so. So before Maurice Omondi comments on the topic of today, I'd love Otieno Paul Peter to say something on the same, on what Melvin has just said. Like it's so lonely.
When you are on the path doing what you are called to do, it is a sport for you, and that is the first payment that you are getting, that you did it. Melvin, when you are writing those things down and sending them out, that writing them down gives you fulfillment. I know there is more fulfillment in hearing that somebody read it. I used to do the same, writing, and I wrote a lot of them. They are on my website. And I would always want to know whether somebody read it and what are their comments. And a part of most of the things that I wrote came to build this book that we are today reading. You see, so there is a way that it will still give you fulfillment. And as Lady Noel is saying, most times it's a lonely path, but to you, you will still feel fulfilled. Now, here is another thing, that when you're uh, doing that which you love doing and you are writing, you never know. You may not need to reach very many people, but one or two people that you will reach will make the whole difference. And then I love the angle that you've brought in. The sower went sowing. Some seed fell on the path, others on rocky grounds, others on thorns, and finally, some fell on good soil. You can imagine that proportion. The proportion is the least of them fell on good soil. And even out of that, just a part of it produced 100-fold, a small part. There is the part for 60-fold and the other one for 30. So all these dynamics must work, and that is the reality of life. And you can imagine Jesus following his purpose, but he wasn't welcome in many places. Yeah, in fact, people, his own kinsmen, doubted whether he was really well in his mind. Yeah, they thought he's run berserk. At some point, they sent his mother. Could you go and check that son of yours? I think we think he's not in his right senses. You see, so people will mistake you. People will think something is wrong with you, but that's fine. But ultimately, they will say, I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. So keep it up. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Even as Melvin is saying, there's something that I've always been thinking about, and I think it's something that we have been talking about and talking about. I remember here saying that let's look at the ripple effect. And I gave an example of this evangelist who went somewhere in the US, and he spent millions of dollars preparing for a 2 weeks crusade. That is a lot of work, you see. And then he goes to the crusade, and when he calls the altar call, the reason why the always crusades is to evangelize and for people to come to know God. So for the 2 weeks, every day he was calling an altar call, nobody was getting saved. And then on the last day, a very young boy who was 8 years came to give his life to Christ. And this evangelist was like, really, God, really? 2 weeks and only one soul? Really, 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 But do you guys know who that soul was? That soul was Billy Graham. Now, how many people have Billy Graham's crusade led to God? Millions and millions of people. So let's look at the ripple effect. We might reach out to one person. The fatal soul might be one person, but the ripple effect of this one person might be millions of people. We'll never know. So imagine now these millions of people are all accorded to you because you're the one who went and planted that seed that fell on the good ground. Maurice Omondi, now to you.
Okay, thank you so much. And it's my pleasure to join this Power Talk today. I joined when it was a bit advanced, but nevertheless, I'll comment. And thank you so much, Paul Peters. I've been reading your books, and it's an opportunity again to hear it from you. Yeah. So I was actually typing a comment, so I'll just read it. I guess the challenge for each one of us is to live the present, because and to give our best in whatever we are assigned to do on a daily basis. And sometimes when we're talking about purpose, there's a tendency of people to say that it is something I'll do tomorrow or next year or even maybe some 5 years from now. And I believe we are building our purpose or discovering our purpose on a daily basis, working on it. I really like the way Dr. Tatu, as well as even Melvin, talked of like that intersection of different things. I like the way she brought in the issue that you can be angry about something, and then somebody else doesn't see why you are angry. You can make a joke, or somebody can make a joke, everybody laughs, but other people don't laugh. It's simply because we are all different. And so sometimes we tend to copy other people, we tend to live other people's lives, and we don't live our own lives. So I like this topic today, that discovering, or even if it's not discovering a purpose, it's discovering what are those things that you really like, what are those things you do without putting a lot of effort. Even if you do put effort in them, you don't feel like it is derailing you. And the reason why I'm bringing this perspective is that in life, you can either do business or maybe you can be employed somewhere. And then you ask yourself, is it that job that is really driving your purpose? Or is it what you brings into that particular job or whatever you're doing? So there was a time when I didn't have a regular job. And then I gave a lift to someone. I was going to Embu. Yeah. So when I arrived along the way, I gave a lift to someone. So as we are speaking, as we continued going and talking about many things. So when he was about to alight, he asked me, Morris, so who is Morris? And that was a very, very profound question, because I realized that now what I'm going to define myself is not all these titles that I've held in different places. And then I realized that what defined me at that particular juncture, I'm Catholic. So what defined me that I'm a Catholic man? And that is what values, that is what drives me in my life, because we were generally talking about different things. So I realized that all these titles that we all doing other things sometimes don't make sense. What really stands at the end of the day is what are some of those things that you cherish inside you. So that is the core that drives everything that we do. So for example, for me, I find myself always just desiring to help people, almost like what Melvin was saying, that if I have somebody calls me to help, I feel like doing much, and even I feel that I'm not doing enough to help enough. I've even gone to the extent of doing this personality test and to see which kind of person am I. I ask people, what do you think I'm good at, or things, something like that. So it's a big topic, but I think at the end of the day, those values that are core in your life can really describe, or rather can really motivate you or drive you to do what is inside yourself. But it is still a journey. We are still learning together. So maybe that's what I can contribute to at this juncture. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're very much welcome. Asante sana. There's a certain like a support group or something that I'm in, and the first question when it came in was, who are you? And they do not define who you are by what you're doing. That is your occupation. Do not define who you are by saying, I am a father, I am a brother, I am this and that. No, who are you? You see, and then when someone asks you who you are, you realize it's a hard question. And then the next question after that is, what are you doing? You see, the question of what are you doing, even as we were looking 2 weeks ago, is not about your occupation. It's not about your job where you are 8 to 5 or whatever time you go to work. It's much more of your purpose and your calling than any other question that has ever been asked. Henry Mbira, I'd want to hear your voice. Kindly say something. Okay, maybe we can go to Patrick before I come back to Otieno Paul Peter for his parting shot on today.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Sorry, I tuned in a little bit late, but I'm loving the way everything is going. The previous people have commented on so many valuable things, and my take would be very many people do not understand their purpose. Some people understand it early, some people do not even get to understand it by the time they are exiting this world. So our main challenge is to try and understand or try and come closer to knowing our purpose so that we may live it. God created everyone for a purpose and for you to do the purpose. So it is upon you through his help or through his guidance now to try and understand your purpose and to try to live it. By the time you get to understand your purpose, you'll have undergone a lot of transformation, which will be defined by the environment which is either confining you or the environment which you are exposed to. So you find that our systems are, people get, you are born, you're educated, and you're told you need to work hard, get good grades, and go to school. So sometimes by the time you are reaching your purpose, and remember that by the time you are being told get educated, what you're going to do will be determined by your parents. They'll either tell you do these best courses, and probably your talent dwells more on the art side. So they'll tell you do these other courses so that you'll become someone who is valuable. But at the end of the day, you will still not be fulfilled because you'll be having some thoughts. Am I really working on my mission? Is it my vision? Am I really heading in the direction that I am supposedly ought to be going, or is it am I living someone else's life? So I am liking the conversation, and you living your purpose, you get fulfilled and you don't get stressed up. You live a happy life, and many at times you leave a legacy behind whereby people will be saying, truly, this person lived the life that he really deserved. And you find that many people who are living their purpose, they have a great impact in the world. If you look at one-on-one cases, that's my take.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Patrick, for your contribution. Now, there's something that I wanted to share today, but for some reasons I won't share today. I will share next week. It's about the 7 nations of calling, where all our callings are categorized into like 7 of them. You're either in media or in sports or in hospitality or life givers. So you'll realize that each and every calling falls into that. We'll talk on that. I'll share with us next time. So Otieno Paul Peter, your parting shot.
Thank you. I love the contributions, the discussion, and thank you very much, Maurice, for that, and all of you, Dr. Eda, Melvin, Faith, and Patrick, the rest. I'd like to pick it from where Noel started talking about roaming about. Yeah, you want to travel and something like that. You know, sometimes we look at what is in our hearts and we imagine, can this be really a purpose? And the purpose, by the way, remember, we were meant to be of service to others. So the question is, that particular thing that you feel you love, find a way that it can be of service to others. If it is traveling, maybe you want to be a tour guide, taking people around or organizing for tours and something like that. That can be fantastic. You'll always be happy. There are people who are into events. They love things. They love attending parties. And so they are more suited organizing them and being part of them. That becomes their life. And so it's very, very important to find a way that which you want to do, which you have fun doing, is also going to be making a difference in the lives of other people, a positive difference. And Patrick has brought in an angle I wanted to talk about, which is legacy. You know, I love using John Maxwell's definition of success. That one is knowing your purpose in life. That's where it starts. Knowing your purpose in life, and then growing to the maximum potential, your maximum potential. Let's say you're organizing tours. What is the maximum that you can organize? Maybe you can organize for 3 people, and then you can organize for 100. And then maybe you can organize 1 tour, you can organize 2. Maybe then you grow, you can now organize 10 at a go and something like that. You always are growing bigger and bigger in your purpose. And then finally, sowing seeds that benefit others. You see, in your purpose, you'll be able to influence other people to grow and become better. And you will leave them in your heart. And remember, the subtitle for this book is Timeless Leadership. In our leadership, when we grow into our purpose and become our best, we will always leave our memory in people's hearts. They will be telling the stories about us, whether it's written in books or not. They will always somewhat have something to say. And that's why they will benefit whether we live with them or they're in the generations to come, just the same way we still benefit from people who lived ahead of us, like Mahatma Gandhi and all those other people, because there is something in them that inspired their living, and so we are able to still pick from the values that they had. Like Maurice is saying, you know, we cannot just pick a purpose. It will also be something that resonates with our hearts. It's our value. It's something that is in our DNA, like Dr. Eda has told us also. It's not just something that is living independently somewhere alone. It defines us, and that's why when somebody asks, "Who are you?" You feel it in your heart. It's not like your name. It's not like your children. It's not your job. But who are you? I remember 2 years or something ago when we were going to handle some training. It was called peer counseling for Safaricom people. And part of when we were discussing, part of what we were going to do in helping people understand themselves, because today people live very empty lives because they are earning big money anyway, but they are just feeling empty. They are not fulfilled. They are trying to look for something that can fill in the gap, and that's why many people have gone into drug addiction, alcoholism, whatever, all sorts of things, because they are trying to fit in. They are trying to find some fulfillment, which they don't seem to be finding. But if they had gotten whom they really are, what they are meant to be, how they are meant to be of value to others, then they will be able to just live a fulfilled life, because that which they are doing is going to be their sport. It's going to give them happiness, you see. So it's good to note what is it that resonates with your heart, that which will be able to give you much more fulfillment. And that's why if we just check in terms of how much money you're going to make out of a particular deal or whatever, and you are not making a difference in people's lives, something is going to be terribly wrong. You will not leave a legacy. I know we will discuss this legacy along the way towards the close of the book. So it's what you are, it's what you are doing. It's good to note that what you are translates to what you do. It translates to the activities. You cannot be doing something else that is not related to what you are. It won't rhyme well. It won't go right. It's not in your heart. You will not be good at it. And so, like the intersections that Dr. Eda was saying, I love saying that if you plot graphs of your strengths, your passion, your what you love, all that, and how you've been performing, you'll realize that at some point there are things that coalesce together. They come together, and you can always pinpoint that some other things are featuring in all those lists, and that points to what you can be best at. And let me tell you, you will be at your best. You will be living a very fulfilled life. Somebody might think, you know, like if you are called a teacher and you're living that particular purpose, you'll be very happy. Somebody might be feeling like you're a failure, because many people are accustomed to comparing success in terms of how much money you have, what house you have, what car you drive, whatever, which places you go to. But people do all that, but yet they are still not fulfilled. They go commit suicide, you see. So what is it that you are? What is in your heart? What are you good at? What did God create you to do for other people? You can be of service to others. Just like we are told, rivers don't drink their own waters, trees don't shelter under their own shadows, and all that. So remember, they grow and they become shadow for other people. So we must be of service. We must think in terms of other people. Thank you. I see time is gone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There's a statement that I read somewhere, and it said, this statement, this one is the one you see in the Bible, how a scripture is written and then at the end is written Selah. Selah just means stop, pause, think about it. And the statement was saying, very many people die at 18 and they are buried at 75. Think about that. And then before Dr. Miles died, I remember him saying that he is now ready to go home. Why? Because the guy knew he had lived his purpose. The guy knew he had poured everything that he was supposed to pour out. He knew he had lived his purpose. And true to his word, imagine he checked out. That guy checked out an empty, poor guy. Like he poured out everything that he was supposed to pour out. So guys, remember, we meet every Monday, same time from 7:30 a.m. to 8:15. Sorry, we have taken 3 minutes of your time, and you'll be